I feel like I have like the total dad package, if that was a thing. I feel like you are like just great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When I became a father at 24 years old, I truly developed an understanding of the sacrifices that's necessary as a man, both financially, in terms of emotional support.
And as you get older and you have kids, those priorities change, and you start to live your life for someone else other than yourself.
And just your desire to continuously be there for your children, provide unconditional love and support that's so necessary for their development.
So as a young man, when you're becoming a father, you really don't know what it really means to be a man or a father at that. You know, you watch shows like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Uncle Phil. He was a good father. He took in his nephew and he raised him like he was his own. It hasn't, like I said, it hasn't changed my idea of what a man is, but it definitely gave me a better appreciation of what the black man goes through.
I was kind of selfish. I wanted my own stuff. My daughter, I would come home and see my stuff thrown all over the floor, or I would have to share certain things and see my Martin videos thrown off, and PlayStation. She wanted to actually play PlayStation with me, so I would give her a fake remote, or I would give her a remote, but it was never plugged in. After a while, she caught on to it, of course.
When I became a father, I had to unlearn poor communication skills that became prevalent in my household growing up. I learned, through formal education and also experience how to improve my communication, like active listening skills, empathy, and just being more nurturing as a father, but also as someone who wants to cultivate the holistic development of my children.
And the one thing that I loved about Kentucky Fried Chicken was the biscuits. That's all I loved. I didn't really care about the chicken. I liked the biscuits. I had to share my biscuit, and I was really torn. I'm not gonna lie. I was torn inside. Because I had to share it. And it just taught me over the years, how to be into my feelings, my emotions. And she really opened me up to being a better person, so to speak. And so, she taught me how not to be selfish, but to sacrifice.
Favorite thing about my father is his understanding. That I know I can tell him whatever, about whatever, whoever, and it stays between him and I, and he's gonna give me an honest answer, and regardless if I like it or not.
My favorite thing about my dad is that he's smart and he would always help me with my work.
And my least favorite thing is sometimes he's too calm about things. Like where I want more of a reaction, he's too chill.
My best memory of Winter has been her recitals every year. So Winter's been in dance since she was 2 years old. It started with the Mommy and Me class, but I was actually the only father in the class. And each year I've seen her develop with her dance skills, her confidence, her ability to be resilient, and seeing her progression since she was 2 to now performing with the Newburgh Performing Arts Academy at the Newburgh Free Academy, and their recitals are always amazing. But to see her flourish and develop since she was 2 has been not only rewarding, but it's something I'm really proud of her, because I know she works really hard and she's passionate about dance.
Brittany is a great mother. I mean, she is a great mother. She takes the attributes of her mother and she's kind of molded them into her own unique thing. And so when you look at her, and when you talk about Nyla and how proud you are and how much you love her, this is a reflection of Brittany. That is a product of Brit. So, yeah, that's it.
This episode of Black Fathers is sponsored by Prayer and Hustle, a retail lifestyle brand that reminds you that when you have faith, you can have anything. Shop their summer collection today at prayerandhustle.com.
My daughter is she's going to law school. She's actually in her second year of law school, and sometimes like she'll just break down. She'll start crying, most likely from the pressure, being from school, the emotional state, the mental state, and she's been that way where it's like school. And so what I have to do with her is just make sure that she's okay. So I'll call her, calm her down. It's gonna be all right. Try to work through whatever her concern is with her. But I'm more of that listener, and they call me like I'm the calm to her storm. So every time she gets all emotional, I'm there to make sure that she's okay. So that's something that I know that as a father, helping my children emotionally and mentally, it's important for you as a father not to just be their protector, but to be there to help them through whatever emotions that they're experiencing.
I think the hardest thing about being a father, mentally and emotionally, is worrying about your children. That's the biggest thing, that once you've raised them and you've gotten them to a certain point, the biggest thing is that you're just worrying that they're okay, that they're going to be okay, that you're trained them right, that you taught them things. And so that's the biggest thing, emotionally and mentally.
One of the biggest challenges of being a father, both mentally and emotionally, is the times where I'm overwhelmed with anxiety, stress, or other challenges that I'm dealing with. It requires me to compartmentalize those things so that I could provide the attention, the nurturing, the unconditional love for my daughters. But a lot of times we have to put our challenges to the side so that we could be fully present and there for our kids. Dealing with the stigma of Black fathers not being present and being absent, those are things that I find to be frustrating, because I know so many amazing Black fathers that I learn from, that I talk with, that we share best practices. But I also find it to be important for me to lead by example and work diligently to demystify those stereotypes. So for example, every extracurricular activity that my daughter Winter has been involved in, I was the one that registered her. I attend every session, whether it be a practice, whether it be a showcase, whether it be a recital. And those are things that I find to be important, like my presence alone, my leadership, those initiatives that I take on to make sure that she has a well-rounded lifestyle, both academically, socially, emotionally, but also to make sure that she has experience beyond like the scope of New York. So we like to travel, and that's something that I find to be extremely valuable. And it's also something that I know so many other fathers, they embrace. But a lot of times, we're subjected to stereotypes that may be, consistent with a false narrative. So for me, leading by example is key.
I don't like to gloat, but, I'm there. I'm there for the highs, I'm there for the lows. I'm here for my son's first walks. I'm here for my daughter's, first job. I'm here.
Being a father and having a daughter is different from being a father and having sons, because you deal with your daughter differently than how you deal with your sons. And so Brittany's always been Chunky Love. She's been the girl. And so I have made an honest effort to actually never disappoint her. And if I'm going to be honest, she's never disappointed me.
Okay, the greatest lesson my dad taught me was to just keep going. Like, he always jokes around, he says there is no try, it's do or do not, or something like that.
That's right.
But it's that I think about all the time. Like, anytime I feel like, okay, this is tough, or this, I might not do this, because anytime I give myself like an excuse, I'm like, no, there is no try, it's do or do not. Like, let me just go, let me just do it.
I can say that I can tell Brittany that I am so proud of her. Brittany works with me. We work together. And Brittany followed a road map that I had kind of laid out for her. And when I come in the morning and I sit and I talk to her, because Brittany's going to give me all the company gossip. She's going to tell me everything that goes in. But one of the greatest things that I heard yesterday. And she doesn't even know this. She said it, but she didn't realize how much it impacted me. When the site leader or the president of our company was talking to her, and Brittany's Brittany, and so Brittany's going to give you straight answers. And then he looks at her and he tells her that he was considering her to be in management. And after working 30 years in a company, and to have your offspring come in and surpass you is a great thing. Because as a father, I want my children to do better than I did. And so when I hear that, and when she told me that, my heart just soared, because I could see that her future is going to be very bright.
This episode of Black Fathers is sponsored by Prayer and Hustle, a retail lifestyle brand that reminds you that when you have faith, you can have anything. Shop their summer collection today at prayerandhustle.com.
Yes, I have found a balance between vulnerability and strength, and I find the strength in my vulnerability. I grew up in a household where, we were taught to suppress our feelings, and we were taught to just be strong. And without the necessary interventions, many times that guidance may not necessarily be effective. So what I learned as a parent is just to be vulnerable, to be honest with my kids, to be able to support them, but also be willing to access resources that would be beneficial to my kids that I may not necessarily be able to provide. For example, I'm a strong proponent of therapy. And so it's something that I've decided to also provide my daughter with access to as well. Not because of extreme emotional need, but because of the importance of having a platform and an outlet to discuss how you feel and understand past experiences and challenges and develop strategies to overcome those challenges and live the best life possible.
Have I found a balance between vulnerability and strength? No, I haven't found that balance yet, only because I'm still working on it. I'm still working on when it's too much to push my son, when I need to lay off, when I can be critical, when I don't need to be critical. I have to still, to this day, work on, the things that I can really be upset about and the things I have to let go. When to push, when to lay off.
I find myself being more vulnerable as I get older. I find myself being more sensitive towards my children, maybe because they're growing up and I feel like they're not going to be in the house anymore. And so now they see a different side of daddy that they probably never really paid attention to, because it's always more of being that macho man, that protector, that superhero. And now they see how sensitive I really am. Sometimes I shed a tear. I try to hold it back, but I shed a tear. And I do find myself balancing between vulnerability and strength, because I think it's important that they know you and know how strong you are, but they do know your vulnerabilities as well. My favorite stage of fatherhood. That's a good question. Oh.
I wanted strong kids. I wanted kids that are just walk into the world and be beasts at whatever they do.
Yeah, I try not to disappoint him, but I definitely have hurt his feelings. I'm honest with him.
So my children have taught me tons of things throughout my experiences with them, but the three that stand out the most would be unconditional love, patience, and adaptability.